growing up hiding, trying to watch Queer as Folk on a Monday night on SBS late at 9 p.m. And then Big Brother Uncut on a Tuesday, 9:45.
I had my first wet dream off the back of Big Brother Uncut, and now the person that gave me the wet dream goes to my gym. Welcome to Behind Closed Doors, the official Sydney Sauna podcast hosted by yours truly, Paisley Heart. This podcast is your cheeky and candid space for unfiltered queer voices and tantalizing stories. So come with me. All right, welcome to episode 4 at Sydney Sauna. Today's guest is a talented DJ, ballroom commentator, renowned for his innovative fusion of R&B club. I got onto Google pronunciation. Emma Piano, and Sunday Neo Soul vibe. Rocky has made a name for himself as one of the foremost voices in the queer R&B and club scene in Australia. Welcome, Rocky.
Thank you.
So we're just talking about that a little bit more, about like creating queer, brown, POC spaces, and especially for the club, hip-hop, R&B sound. And I have a history. I used to work in the hip-hop music industry, and just knowing how straight dominated that space can be. How has that been for you, stepping into like leadership in creating queer POC spaces for that kind of music?
Ooh.
Straight into it.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. I love Sydney Sauna Rave Temple, the events that you guys throw. Thank you for having me. It's
pleasure.
Yeah. I think being in the position that I have been, I'm very blessed that I was able to move here at a time that I could have sat back and just been like, well, that's just how Sydney is, and let the doof be. But there was just no spaces for people like me when I first got here. So I was blinded by my DL persona, going to these straight clubs and being about the R&B life. But I knew there was something missing and within my own community that I hadn't accepted yet. So the deeper that I grew into myself and accepting my queerness and accepting all parts of my queerness, I realized that actually no, I'm actually alone in this nightlife scene that I was trying to build at the time. Or while at the time it wasn't really built yet, it was just thoughts. And then when I started to think about what could I do to, especially being a part of the Mardi Gras agenda and working with Mardi Gras and working with other queer communities, I just knew that I had to do something.
Yeah.
My first ever club was called Club Flamingo, which was pre-COVID.
Sure. And
I was very blessed at the time to have a lot of straight R&B hip-hop support.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't the queer scene.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't. So COVID happened, and there was a lot of going back to the drawing board and, having a lot of time to think about what is it that I could do to actually make the spaces feel more safe. Doing that work, coming back after COVID and after my dad passed away, there was a lot of reservations, but after losing someone so close to me, it kind of it just made me jump into it and really just take the leap. And if I really want it, it's going to happen. And I just kept manifesting it. And now my events have become some of the it's the most brown events you'll see on Oxford Street when I'm holding an event on Oxford Street, but it's also the safest queer POC spaces to have. And I'm just happy to be one of those people that are leading it. Opening that door to my younger generation of POC who want to do it, because we can do it. It's scary coming into the scene in Australia, especially being predominantly white, male-led. But I think if you just really want it, it will happen. And just believe in yourself, and that's what I've had to do.
I haven't been to one of these gigs, but I've been fortunate to see you DJ a few times, and it's so special. Like, the art of DJing is really about commanding the room and being in synergy with your crowd, and the best DJs, I believe, really bring in their own culture. They're not just playing for the crowd, but they're playing with the crowd and giving them something. They're really giving the crowd a gift of something different. And, you know, like I run parties in this venue that are a bit more doof, but you find that happy medium. And I remember the last party here coming into the dance floor, and just it was just such a incredible mix of like ravers, but in this like R&B, like neo soul, but like so like this fast pace. Maybe this is where this piano comes in,
drum and bass,
and like that housey sound, but feeling the blackness, feeling the brownness, feeling the culture, feeling it rather than just being what can be more like fist bumpy, is like the full sex and body is into it, and like really seeing your mastery and your joy. And like I know my crowd is still quite white centric, but feeling you bring so much of yourself that it really was an incredible meeting of culture. And I'm curious how that is for you as like a queer DJ that really has cultivated community, but then you get booked into these other gigs that might be a bit more white or a bit more doof, but you get to bring something that's so potent to you, how that is, and like how you've really curated that over time.
Oh, thank you so much for what you said. Yeah, makes me feel very warm inside. Nice. Thank you. I think I'm very lucky to be in a space where I appreciate and I actually enjoy doof music as well. My roots are Pacific Islander, and I grew up in New Zealand, and I grew up around a lot of the reggae, the R&B, and my dad was also in a band growing up, and their band played a lot of live music, and my dad also DJ'd in my later years of life. When he stopped the band, my dad's just always been into music, so my ears always been eclectic.
Yeah.
And then jumping into the ballroom scene and learning the depths of house music and how it started off back in the days, and the black centric of it all, and listening to the old house tracks and listening to the way that you would hear these beautiful black brown voices just bringing this music to another level. I've been very lucky to be in spaces where my ear has been able to grow, and I think that's why my music is the way it is, because it's just a mixture of all different things, but it's also just the basis of it all has always been my culture and my love for the music that I play.
And like this music particularly, and you know, speaking about this particular music and also the ballroom scene, and this music is quite, and scene is quite brown, and like to me and my experience of both like the ballroom scene, like categories like the Siren is so hot, sexy, really truly embodied in that like giving sex and like fiercely being in yourself. And then same with, you know, R&B, soul, like the ability to really put the sex and sexiness into both the voice and the way that the art is perceived, at least in like more a white so-called Australia. It's not as open to be in sex spaces for black and brown folks. And I'm curious how it has been for you coming into a place like Sydney Sauna or the parties that are here, or any of the other sort of sex forward parties that you've been to, and that experience of coming in and being in that embodiment.
Yeah, well, I am a part of, like, my girls back in Brisbane, my two close friends who are my gay best friends that I grew up with. We have traveled back and forth and done the circuit and done the circuit thing, done the gay party thing, done the sauna thing.
Oh, great.
So for a long time, I was the friend that would take the friends to the sauna.
You were the sauna mom.
I was the sauna mom because a lot of my friends hadn't been, and me and my girls, we used to go. I was in a relationship, but I would still go.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a voyeur, so I love to watch. And it was how me and my girl got a lot closer was one day she just went ahead and was going in front of me, and then I was just like, what is happening? This is so strange.
Yeah.
But then it just became so, I don't know, natural and normal that we knew those parts of each other, and it didn't become weird, which was a learning curve for me as well, because growing up Pacific Islander and especially in a Christian home, if you see a kissing scene, you're not allowed to watch that.
Like this.
You have to turn away, or mom and dad are changing the channel.
Yeah.
And even just growing up hiding, trying to watch Queer as Folk on a Monday night on SBS late at 9 p.m. And then Big Brother Uncut on a Tuesday, 9:45.
I had my first wet dream off the back of Big Brother Uncut, and now the person that gave me the wet dream goes to my gym.
Oh, wait. Oh. Which one is it? Reese? Is it?
No, Ryan. Fitzy, and he had this big...
Shut up, Fitzy. The radio guy. Oh my God. I forget he's Big Brother too. Yeah. Him and Christy.
That's right. And they had the private room. They had one at one time, and he's walking around with his big... And I remember that night I had a wet dream.
And you wake up the next day and you're like, I'm queer.
Yeah, I have been initiated. One day at the gym, I'll tell him in the locker room. So, hey, girl.
He'll probably be like, just running over. The sauna side of things wasn't a fear for me.
Oh, great.
I've grown to love the sauna, and to be honest, it was a stage where I was going like every fortnight.
Nice.
But because the sauna itself, and there's not a lot of spaces that offer what the sauna offers as well.
I've always said, I come here for the facilities first and the sex second. It's like, if I can pay whatever it is, like $30 for as many hours as I want, and I get to be naked, and then someone happens to suck my dick while I'm chilling, and relaxing, then fucking, great. Because you don't get to, in the white Bondi, scene, you're gonna pay $60 for an hour, and you're not gonna get naked, and people are gonna be on their phones in this whatever. So this happened to me 2 weeks ago. Someone was on their phone in the sauna. Hey girl, I was like, no.
When I was in a relationship for 10 years and we weren't open until the last year. So my sauna experiences are very limited in regards to sexual. Yeah. But being present and being amongst it, I'm so used to it.
Okay, you clocked your hours.
Yeah, I've clocked my hours. But being at a party at a sauna is very different. Especially a queer party. There was my first one was actually a lot, but in the best learning way possible.
Yeah. I remember, I don't know if the first one was with us, but I remember I was saying to you on the phone yesterday, being in the green room, and you had popped out of another room in your towel, and just this smile from ear to ear, just the most delicious, joyful smile, and you're like, I'm just awakening so many fantasies, and then just went off into the dark, and I was just like, that just made my fucking night.
Yeah, I've had a few of those experiences at your parties, which has been really nice. Your party was actually the first time I was invited just so nonchalantly to a full-on group session, 4 guys, 1 girl, which is so not my thing. And I was like, I will have to rain check. But it was giving just being amongst it was fun. I think I'm still dealing with, I don't know, being sexually active in those spaces.
Yeah.
But those are just me dealing with the fear of one. I've been single since November. I haven't really been sexually active, and I'm not on PrEP.
Yeah.
Two, I'm in my bottom era, which is like scary because it's like I'm starting to like get more attracted to guys who I'm attracted to as tops.
Yeah.
But I just don't go there yet because I also don't feel ready.
It's such a vulnerable way to connect. Yeah.
And I've only bottomed like 5 times.
Yeah.
I can count it on one hand. I have things that I'm dealing with at the moment that I'm just trying to like get past, but these parties have helped me to really like be more sexually free.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm still learning.
I'm curious, like, in my own experience, I have so many different sexual desires, but even as sex positive as I am, as like sex positive my community is, I still have so much shame about truly going for it, and the stories and the narratives that go through my mind, and the clothes, and wanting to be so open. And like, my first few experiences, like this sauna was the first sauna I ever went to, and like it took me forever to it took me maybe 3 times before I even played with anyone, and like a lot of the time I had my eyes closed. But as shut down as I was, it was also, I was growing like so much during that time. I was actually feeling the shame, feeling the guilt, feeling the like judgment, and like it was like all like compressed and stuck somewhere. It was like slowly opening and blooming and flowering and moving through me till now it's like, okay, I've unlocked a certain amount of ability to have connections in places like this that like, I'm curious like how that journey has been for you, and like what are some of the internal stories and feelings that are moving through you on both sides of like, fuck, I'm scared, and fuck, this is amazing.
I think the meeting new people has been in these spaces has been a joyous thing, because usually when you come to the spa, you don't talk.
Yeah.
It gets very just like you do your thing. And it's giving, if you feel someone, you feel someone. Having the queer Sydney sauna parties, you actually meet a lot of people who are on their own sexual journeys as well, and it's not comparing, but I guess knowing that there are other people that are just like you, moving in these spaces, trying to figure their stuff out as well. It's a nice feeling because I know I'm not alone in that. I love the confidence as well, and people that I could meet like in the room and not even like, and then walk out and they're like doing just things that I would have never thought they would be doing.
That's like, possible?
Wow. But just them being so free about it.
Yeah.
So, it's been, I think, the meeting, the personal interactions have been the more growing part for me in dealing with my stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not trying to compare with others. I think it's just knowing that, like, okay, we're all dealing with our own stuff. You know? As much as I'm touching base on it, I don't think it's too much of a crazy thing. I think it's just, I just have some things to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious what your journey has been with, like, especially with R&B and soul and this music. So I very much grew up on hip hop. Is like, it's very heteronormative, male female love stories or fighting or sex or whatever. How your connection is with that around like being so queer forward in your life, but then like maybe some of your favorite artists are very much just like hetero men and women, and like where you sort of diverge from like, this is the music I listen to, but then this is the world that I'm in. Luckily
we're not in the times where R&B and hip hop was heavily rap gangster music. So we're at a time now where we've got the baddest bitches on the scene rapping.
Yes.
We've got some of the gayest, amazing hip hop artists as well, like
Yes.
Cakes the Killer.
Yes.
We've got like Saucy Santana.
Deborah Cat.
Yeah, so there's very there's definitely diverse spaces within the hip, which is amazing now because it's like those are safe spaces for us, right? And it just shows that we're growing.
Yeah.
But I think my journey through that is I haven't always just listened to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad was growing up. We would listen to Eagles,
Oh.
the Eagles, the Stevie Wonder,
Yeah.
back like Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would listen to everything.
Very eclectic.
Very eclectic.
Yeah.
I would like come home and we would have karaoke on, and me and my sisters would have competitions and who would sing "Yesterday" better, or like just things like that. ABBA, Bonnie M, the list goes on. I was always drawn to R&B hip hop because I don't know. There's something about the beat that I just get. I can't explain it. But I also have the same love for house music.
Sure.
And honestly, growing up, you sing the lyrics, but then you kind of make the lyrics your own.
Yes. Yeah.
But so you change the she's to he and so on, and then
Sometimes you'll be Kelly Rowland rather than Nelly
I was
in Dilemma.
or even just the J-Lo tracks were the easiest to sing back then, but a lot of female R&B hip hop I grew up on.
Okay, that's who resonated with you the
Yeah,
most.
a lot of Honey, a lot of Mariah Carey, a lot of divas.
Yeah.
Which is probably why now I'm in love with Jasmine Sullivan, SZA.
Pick Your Feelings Off the Floor, that song, that smashes me. Yeah. Who is your diva Mount Rushmore? I'll run with that for a bit.
Look, I have to say pop-wise,
Oh yeah.
Beyonce.
Yes.
And if I'm talking voice, Jasmine Sullivan.
Yes. Yeah. Two more.
Woo! Lauryn Hill.
Oh, yes.
Just because I truly believe her voice is one of the most unique and beautiful voices of all time. Celine Dion.
Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. I wasn't expecting that. That's a very eclectic Mount Rushmore of divas.
Yeah.
I want to... So, like, something we have so strong in the queer community, especially in the gay community, is, like, this idolizing and like, really loving divas and, like, the pop divas. And I'm curious to hear what either your personal experience or more on a, like, community experience, what you feel their role is and has been, and the permission and why we love people like the Beyoncés, the Celine Dions, and like why they are the queer and gay icons, as well as icons within the different communities.
I honestly don't get it.
Okay,
I really don't. I don't get it.
Okay,
it's fan behavior. Like,
what did they personally awaken you, and does that tie into your queer journey at all? Like, for instance, how you're saying, like, singing the J-Lo songs gave you permission. Yes. How did that, the divas and the female rapstresses awaken that little queer boy in you?
Yeah, I think the one who really awakened me, and this is going back, was Deborah Cox.
Okay, I don't know Deborah Cox.
Deborah Cox, she sings, how did you get here?
Oh, yeah.
You're supposed to be here. Well, she's got another song called Who Do You Love? Tell me who do you love? And back then, my cousins older than me, I was only like 5, but my cousins were older than me, and they had posters all over their walls. They had JTT. This was when Home Improvement was.
Oh yeah.
So they had like the sons, the 3 sons, like all over their wall. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, is that his name?
Yeah.
Just those, and like all the young pop celebrities, and they would record. So they had Sky, which is Foxtel back in New Zealand, and they would record on VCR all the videos. And this was when Wannabe, Spice Girls, was out. Yeah. So Spice Girls was my actual true, like, erotic, like, oh my gosh, I'm a girl. Like that girl, that real feminine side to me. It was the Spice Girls that opened that up to me. And I also think Deborah Cox was the one who really like, because her and Mel C were like the brown girls. So I felt more like, you know, you
saw yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd be copying all the dances on Deborah Cox, and then when the Spice Girls came on, I was always doing that zika zika. Yeah, but no, Spice Girls was definitely my my parents knew I was gay after that, because I cried for the whole like Spice Girls magazine pack that came out for Christmas, and I wanted a Spice Girls shirt.
Yes.
And my parents were did not know how to take me seriously, that they bought me two Christmas, they bought me like my Christmas gifts, but I had two main gifts. Okay. And I was only allowed to open the Spice Girl gift at home, and then I had
that's
to,
a family.
And at the family thing, they took the other gift, which was a magician set.
Okay, she's a queer magician.
And I just remember opening it and be like, oh, cool, but then running around and going, do you like my Spice Girl shirt? Like to everyone. So, you know, my family knew at a young age that I think that was the beginning of queer, like gay Rocky, which I think made it a lot easier for my parents to understand me, being so young, but knowing what I wanted. And I was never like the Barbie girl kind of boy. I was just more like Spice Girls was my life.
Spiced up your life for reals.
Spiced up your life for reals. Yeah. And then I never I never got on the Britney or Gaga bandwagon. I was always just Beyonce, Brandy, all those. Yeah, they're very R&B.
Speak to me about being in the ballroom scene and what that's done for your queerness and for your evolution in community and sexuality.
Entering the ballroom space, it's been one of the best things to ever happen to me in general.
Yeah.
I moved here 13 years ago now, and moving here, being DL, and then entering the queer space and coming out and trying to find myself within the queer space, it was, I kept feeling at home in the wrong spaces. So I kept making home in spaces that were not for me, but I was forcing upon myself. And that was because I couldn't find anything that felt like home until I found ballroom. And it was a real true awakening, because all these things that I had been trying to fight and advocate for, I myself wasn't truly and fully aware of the depth of the work that really needed to be done. So a lot of the work that I was doing, it was almost in vain, because what else was there to do other than just to build a name for myself? And then entering the ballroom space and seeing that there were more people like me within the space and within other spaces that weren't queer, but I had been a part of as well, and getting to know the real knowledge as to why ballroom came about, and then comparing that with my own experiences, and I don't know, just it all came in like, it's like a kick in the face almost, with that realization of, holy shit, like, I actually thought I thought I knew myself. I thought I knew where I stood. I thought I knew who I was, but I really didn't until I entered ballroom, and it's been one of the most liberating and freeing things that has ever happened to me.
Wow. Before
finding my voice as a commentator, I was always the background guy. I sang background vocals for so many people. I was always the assistant, the producer, or the director. I was never the lead.
Yeah.
And then stepping into ballroom and finding my voice and being able to be one of the commentators and being one of the voices, but also just sharing a craft that I had been hiding for so long and didn't know what, like, I just never thought that something that I loved doing could become, and that I was passionate about could become something that I do on a regular. So that was life-changing. And then to find my family in the most unique way, like you enter this ballroom space and people are trying to home you, and different houses will approach you and different elders will approach you and stuff like that, but it's really your own journey, and being a part of that journey and finding my house, that was one of the best things that ever happened as well, because in my family I see so much of myself in my ballroom brothers and sisters and my ballroom parents. I see so many similarities, but also how different we all are and how we all move and grow together. And it's a real family. My family situation right now with my ballroom family might not be the one or needs for the next person, but that person will find a family that works for them and is for them. My family isn't for everyone, just like other houses aren't for me. But when you find that, it's so... Yeah, you just feel at home. You feel at home and you feel... I don't know. It's a nice feeling to know that I have a family and that I a chosen family, and I have something that is for me and that I'm actually like proud to be a part of and advocate for, and to make difference in the world. Like especially with this young generation that are coming through, this queer young POC community that are coming through. I wish we had this when I first moved here. I wish ballroom was here when I first moved here. I wish ballroom was around a long time ago here in Australia, because being in Pacific family and Pacific Island and Christian homes are very normal in Pacific culture to be Christian and go to church on a Sunday and all those things. And you're taught from a young age that being queer is wrong. Just not only our culture, a lot of cultures, but I feel like if ballroom was there for me when I was younger, my journey would probably be very different.
Yeah.
I've said before to some of my family, like I feel like if ballroom was there for me when I was in my teens, I most likely probably would have been a femme queen, a trans woman.
Wow.
Because I have auntie energy. The kids,
big auntie energy.
Yeah, the young gen, they all call me auntie. They all meet me. I'm not like and I think I truly represent what it is to be a whawhawhinge, which is Samoan for third gender.
Oh, yes.
Whawhawhinge it's everything in between. It doesn't represent just trans and gay people. It represents the whole LGBT community.
Yeah.
We don't categorize.
Yeah.
We're all just one, which is whawhawhinge. It's an energy. It's a being.
Beautiful.
So I truly believe if I had grown up with ballroom, my journey would be very different. But to be a part of it now and where I am now in my life is still the biggest blessing. So I want to be that and give that to the next generation. So there's more of us who come into the scene and are movers and shakers and opening doors and providing space for everyone, not just queer POC, but for everyone, where it's like, just like you said, you grew up around R&B and hip-hop, but where the R&B and hip-hop space is going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, there are places like the Imperial now that are starting to throw like parties, and I know Cliff Dive now are opening up and being more queer-centric, but it's also giving who are running these parties, and is it for the community or is it for their own pocket? Things like that to be wary of. So
it's so great, like seeing so many scenes pop up and so many more diverse folks getting opportunities to be leaders, and then transitioning into creating the spaces, such as like versus a venue going, we'll put on this event for you, which is like, okay, I see that you have maybe a good intention, but also it's never curated right if you're not of the community, and it's just more of a cash grab. But I want to circle back to like you entering the ballroom scene. Like I'm super, super young to it. My first one was the Sissy Ball last year over Pride. And like that, you saying the kick in the face. I remember going in there with a group of people and just feeling struck by lightning. Like I just had to take myself away from my group, not because I was ashamed, but just because I needed to take in the moment on my own and just bawled my eyes out watching people go through the runway. And it was very close around the moment of when Xander went in that beautiful, I don't know what you call the garment, but like very much for like a Palestine.
Middle Eastern, very...
Yeah, and just like that full embodiment and just seeing people fully represent their culture, their sex, their queerness, their creativity, and the energy that goes with it is like that is to me like probably the first time that I felt like the full reverence for queer community in a like holy church way, like as if it was like I felt the choir, I felt the like the transmission of the pastor, the preaching, but not done in a preaching way, done in a like I am wearing both like an armor and I'm bare-chested for the community and really representing my house, my culture, my people, and it was just like I'm quite an ambitious person that likes to just do whatever and like throw myself in, and that was one of the first things I saw, and I was like, I would love to do that, but I have way too much reverence to throw myself into that. It's like I want to watch and absorb and take that in, and it just cracked me open to a new level of like really, really seeing community represented on such a diverse level, you know, is like, again, I'm very much more from the like the doof doof space. Is like prior to that I went to one of the Zaddy's Doorless parties and was just like, oh wow, like this is so different to anything I've been to. And again, it was like when I first entered the hip hop spaces, it just been like, I'm a guest here in this space, and I'm really seeing so much more than what I got to grow up with, you know, in my very like narrow white lens. And then like, though I listened to the music, I never really got to be around what the embodiment of it is. And then just seeing like, Zaddy's Doorless, which is very like POC and trans forward, and just like really not only like visually seeing but energetically feeling it, like like this is truly embodied and like revered in this space, and it commands that reverence and expands the like, oh, now I understand my queerness even more by stepping into this space. And that just like what I had at Zaddy's Doorless versus what I had at the Sissy Ball, and then later on at the Silky Ball, is just like, oh my God, I'm learning so much more about myself, my culture, like my like quote unquote queer ancestry and history by being in these spaces, because there's such a plethora of storytelling in ballrooms, and that is just like undoubtedly moving. Like I just tell anyone that hasn't been, like, if you want to be fucking moved on a way that is like personal, spiritual, energetic, like, and just undescribable, please just go to a fucking ballroom. Yeah, it's so moving. You know, just seeing you guys like, oh fuck, this was covered by Vogue. Like, what the hell? Like, I just these things that just seem so unattainable. It's just like, oh no, these people are representing that, and like, and have such a powerful aura around them that it's calling in mainstream attention, and like, this is something that truly does need mainstream attention. Like, it's transformative. It is like, it's therapy. It's a fucking transformation retreat of its own in that moment. So
and saying that too, though, being in mainstream media, to add on to that, and I love that Ballroom opened that for you, and is that space, because I understand that as well. Being in mainstream media, it's we have to be very like careful on who we share those moments with, because a lot of our ballroom people, they work in sex work, and they work in and may not want themselves out there in mainstream media like that. So it gives very, we have so many opportunities come to the door, but we have to be very selective on who we open that door to.
Yeah.
Because our femme queens are the reason why we do ballroom as well, and they were the ones who started this, and they're the ones who opened that door to us. So we have to give that respect and making sure that they're feeling their safest. It's not hidden the fact that one of the biggest fetishes is trans fetish, right? So yeah, it's one of those. We get approached all the time, but we're very silly.
It's amazing that there's things like Pride and Mardi Gras that has big corporate sponsors, and that's the time to really showcase. But it's the gatekeeping is so important of culture, and really only allowing the people in that can give it the reverence. Like the parties that I put on here is like, I've been approached by big media platforms and just said, sorry, no, because it's going to get eyes for people that I actually don't want here. And then that's eventually what inspired the membership stuff. And I just imagine, same with the ballroom, is like, some people might not be as like energetically sensitive and or like politically attuned, that might walk in, then not have that same reverence that I went in and be like, oh, this isn't my space to take up space. This is my space to like really give my energy and receive the energy that's coming towards me. And yeah, I think there's something so important with gatekeeping. Like one of the most inclusive thing you can do, like around like trans folks, is like to be exclusionary to the people that aren't, that don't know how to own. That's like, I always say that's like one of the most inclusive things you can do. Yeah. Like earlier you said there was a point where you were going to saunas every other week, and like maybe some of your journey between playing in the realms of like club DJing and then ballroom scene, and then like possibly after that, I don't know if you ever did like, okay, now it's time to go to the sauna after my night,
Me and some of my brothers, I won't say names, but we used to go on Sundays all the time and just, have a kiki, because Sundays would be the fun day. Once I went open with my partner, I started exploring more. Still wasn't really, I wasn't doing penetration or anything.
Yeah.
I think my first time doing penetration in a sauna was this year.
Oh.
Yeah. Honestly, I work in a fucking adult shop as well.
Oh, great.
And we have backwards. So it's so... The sex on premises thing, I think it's very needed, especially in our culture. Or else we're going to be at the fucking parks.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
And we're not back in the 70s, and we shouldn't be hiding in parks. Like, these spaces are very needed. I think I'm more at a space now where I'm like, I just allow.
Yeah.
And let the energy take its toll. I think I just don't go to the saunas for that only reason.
Yeah.
As well, which is, for me, a bonus.
Yeah. It creates more availability for connection, I believe. And like you're saying, like you come here with some friends and you kiki and chat and, have this a Sunday session here versus like, I'm here to fuck. And, kudos to you if that's what you do as well. That's also a great thing. But to be able to make it more human, more connected, and it feels like a great little story around like sex on premise importance is, seeing you like sort of look up this way, I don't know if it is, but like an adult store, right, is the first time that I ever had a quote unquote gay or queer experience. Yeah. I was out on in King's Cross when I was like maybe 22, and I had like gone for a walk. I ended up here and I was sitting down, and some guy came up to me and he's like, how you going? I think some friends were having an argument. That's why I walked away from them. Oh, my friends had an argument. I'm feeling a bit like annoyed at them and whatnot. And he's like, do you want me to like show you this really like great way to blow off some steam? And I was like, all right, and went for a walk just on Oxford Street up here. Took me to, I think it was like an adults bookstore or something like that. And like you go upstairs to go to the store, and then downstairs there's like little porn booths. And took me down there and took me into one of the porn booths, and like there was some straight porn playing on there. And he was like, what do you think? And I was like, oh, yeah, it's hot, it's cool. you know, I was feeling a lot of shame, but also a lot of turn on at the same time.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It was a mixed emotions, and then he's like, "Oh, what do you like?" And, you know, at the time I was like, "Oh, you know, I like watching her get fucked." And he's like, "Yeah, but what about the guy?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, like he's got a great cock on him," and he's like, "Do you want to like jerk off together?" I was like, "Okay," you know, and then it just slowly evolved from there. Like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Blah, 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 blah. I wasn't ready for it. I remember him being like a bit angry at me for not wanting to have penetration, and which, you know, older me would be like, all right, girl, if you want to like get sassy with me, don't worry about it. But at the time I was just like, no.
Yeah.
I'm happy to just continue with this oral stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like somewhere like that, I probably would have never, I wouldn't say never, but like that was an opening, just how accessible it was. Like, cool, we're on the street, walk down 10 stairs, walk into a booth, and I can have sex legally. Oh, so important. And like going overseas or somewhere like Melbourne, where there's so many more sex on premise venues, it's very dire here in Sydney. Yeah.
See, I've been meaning to go to Melbourne. But honestly, when I first moved here and I was trying to find myself, I went to almost every sex on premises in the first 6 months.
Wow.
Of being here, and I never did anything. I was too scared.
Yeah.
Too frigid, and I remember one night, like, there was this guy, and things just got, like, this is the first time I went into a room with the dude, and I think he just thought I was playing to the point, like, he ripped my shirt, like, fully pushed me
Hulkamania, dude.
pushed me on the bed and ripped the back of my shirt, and the front came down, and I'm like, what is going on? But like, I think he thought it was hot in his mind.
He was a role-playing scene for
I
him.
was so scared.
Oh,
and
no.
so aggressive.
Yeah.
And I left, and I just never went back to the Session Prim for a while. Over that now. But
Yeah, you moved through that trauma. And
yeah, and it was so scary because it was one of them, like, he was obviously a straight guy. He was of Islander descent as well.
Okay.
And the thing is, it was just such a scary moment. But I felt safe after I had told the guy, like, what had happened at the front and the way they took care of things.
Oh, good. So on that topic, what would you like to see different and grow in the scene of Sydney and Gadigal and the wider Eora Nation around queerness, sex on premise, and like our community's ability to freely express ourselves and have safe spaces?
I think it's happening slowly, but I think it's definitely happening. I think Pride definitely put a big shift in the energy, especially after COVID. I feel like the focus on doof parties are no longer the thing anymore.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of more gay people coming to the queer parties now, which has been really, I guess, game-changing in a way, because now I truly believe the queer parties are the future of our community.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to see, like, these boys accept that.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely, the queer parties are the best fucking parties. And I think what you guys are doing with Rave Temple and Sydney Sauna parties, Sauna...
Queer Sauna Sounds, but also at Sydney Sauna, yes.
Queer Sauna Sounds is definitely a game changer as well. I'm still in shock at how many women at these them days in Sheens.
Yeah.
So many. And it's so like I had told you before, I was like, wow, the girls love to have fun.
Yes.
The girls love to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, that for me has been like game changing, because I just I never knew there was that side. I'm used to like the girls on the L word, and it's giving, when you go into a sauna, it's like, oh, this is where the gays hang out after hours. But then to see that there's a niche for girls.
Oh yeah, they've been so hungry for it, like the like either femme, non-binary, or like AFAB folk is like, there's been such a mysticism to this space, and like, why don't we have this? And like, you know, this venue has opened up for, outside of our parties, like a Thursday all-gendered experience, which is amazing, incredible. And I remember the first time I ran one of our Queer Sauna Sounds down at Melbourne Subway Sauna, the person, the manager that runs it, gay man, and the first time it'd been an all-gender thing, I was like, so how was that for you at the end, you know, to have a bit of a recap? And he's like, I've never seen so many boobs in my life.
Literally.
Like, for a gay man to be like, that was a lot. That was
No, literally, but it's so like, at first it's in your face because, you know, you're just so used to seeing cock and abs or boy body, male physiques. So to have women, the most fucking natural, you know, bodies in front of you. If you haven't seen it for a long time, it can be a bit. But now I'm like, oh, they're here and they're queer. You know, because, it's fab.
Yeah, I hope more spaces, because, you know, what happened in like our history, you know, we're talking about the parks earlier, like a lot of gay men were creating cruising culture in the parks and in the like toilets and whatnot, and then that's what eventually evolved into places like this, that like gay men did do a lot of work to create sex spaces. But I do believe there is so much more room and like a call for all gendered queers to be able to experience this, and that we do find a lot more like crossover, and like, you know, doesn't mean to be in a queer space if you are a gay man or a lesbian woman that you have to be with you know, the opposite sex. Is that, you know, you can still remain onto what queerness means to you and in your sex, but just that liberation is like it is, again, such a transformative experience, and I really want to see so much more of it. And, you know, I love, like, even the guy that owns this place is like such an advocate of more spaces, and though they run this venue and it has this very beautiful demographic, and to me is my personal favorite sauna in Sydney, is like, but it doesn't mean this should be the one and done space. We've got more varieties, places with dark rooms, places with porn booths, places with whatever. It's like, you know, imagine a more R&B sexy party that you can go off and have a playful time.
I hope more of my Pacific Islanders and POC queer girlies and guys come and experience it as well. Like, I hope me joining and being a part of this opens that to them as well, for them to feel more open, because it still is a little bit taboo in some ways, and especially sex. You just say sex to a 50-year-old Samoan woman, you don't know what you're gonna get. So I don't know. I'm that's one big thing I love about being on this journey with Rave Temple, is that I know that I'm representing and showing to my other POC girls that, girl, it's just a sex party. Or not just a sex party. It's just a space to be just free and liberated in your sex. And I don't want to call it a sex party, because it's not just a sex party.
It's a party, it's a gathering that also is sex positive, sex welcoming, sex open, and I think that's a big shift for a lot of people. I don't know if I'm ready to go to sex party, because there's like all these preconceived expectations. But if you like frame it as like, it's a place where sex is welcome, but people are dancing, people are chatting, people are hanging out in the spa, and you can have sex. Such a different experience. You know, just like you're saying, you went to saunas for so many years and never played, but you were there and there was sex around, there was nudity, there was maybe people asking you if you were open to it, but it's like, no, that's not where I'm at right now. And what's next for Rocky? What do you got coming up? What can the girlies look out for? Where can we find you?
I'm taking over Ace Hotel for a couple of Wednesdays at the end of September, and then my little events Black Co will be taking over Ace Hotel in January, all Fridays in January. And we've also got a couple of balls coming up in our ballroom community. I'll be playing at Colombian and Chingalings every weekend to the end of the year, and some other parties that will pop up. But
wonderful. Where do they find you? Where do they find those details?
Rocky Stallone on Instagram, Yeah, I just have an Insta and a SoundCloud's coming very soon.
All right, hot. Thank you so much for coming on
thank you
and
for
giving all these
inviting
gorgeous
me.
stories, serving looks, and really joining this sexual conversation and queer liberation that's so important.
No, thank you for having me. This has been the dream workspace today. If y'all could see what I'm watching, it's been on the whole time with me.
There's a spa right in front of us and porn right in front of the spa. So we're like, there's some mixed feelings happening in our bodies. We're professional and maybe a little bit turned on at the same time.
Now it's time to film our OF content.
Yeah.
Find it on OnlyFans.
Yeah. Check our link tree, link in bio. All right. One more. Thank you. Bye. Bye.